We turn now to Matters Media Watch. James Creed is with us. How are you, sir?
Very well, Mark. Thank you.
Looking at reactions online to Manuel Valls being slapped by a protester.
That's right. So he has recently stood down as Prime Minister. He's hoping to get the Socialist Party nod as the candidate for the presidency. And he's on the campaign trail. And in Brittany, this guy gave him a pretty light slap on the face. So it was more the gesture, I think, that was an issue than any physical harm. So let's, if we want to take a look at the video, it's been shared around various different media. And it's here on Le Télégramme de Brest, which is a Breton newspaper, and you can see I'll play the video. It's 37 seconds. And
Go for it.
He's coming out of a town hall.
Ding ding, round one.
And he's coming out of a town hall, and as he is emerging from the building, there's a group of supporters, it seems. One 18-year-old guy approached him and gave him a bit of a slap on the face before being very quickly tackled to the ground by the security services. That might be a disproportionate response, but I guess he is an MP. He's a former Prime Minister.
It's a difficult situation because anybody who approaches a person like that in this day and age is putting themselves at risk of that kind of response.
That's it.
Whether or not it was just a tap or a fully fledged punch, it wasn't a punch. It was just a little slap in the face, wasn't it? But
slap
nonetheless,
in the face. But slap in the face is often used as a.
The security guys don't know that, do they?
That's it. And the thing is, it's gone wild on Twitter. There's so many different angles to the story because, for not least of all, a slap in the face is often used as a metaphor for an election slap in the face. And of course, people didn't take long to find that particular metaphor in this particular case. Valls deserves an electoral slap and not a physical slap. You don't resolve anything through violence.
That was a pretty stupid thing to do, wasn't it?
Indeed, and he will pay the consequences, and we'll get to that in a second. This kind of continued this morning because Manuel Valls was invited onto France Inter radio, and while he was in the studio, they opened the phone lines to listeners, and one said, well, Manu, so I think he even referred to him in a very sort of informal way. He said that slap, 66 million people wanted to give it to you. So he's speaking in the name of every French person, and I think that's probably not entirely true. But in any case, he was sort of saying what you got is what a lot of people would have liked to have done.
Everybody uses these aspects to sort of make their own little point, don't they? It's what it's about. You know?
So there's a whole variety of reactions. There's even photoshopped images online, this one with his wife, and you can see there the mark of the hand still on his face. I don't think that actually happened. Now, others really said, look, we're shocked. I'm shocked by the extent to which people are applauding the slap that he got. Nothing justifies violence, which is essentially what Manuel Valls himself said. We'll get to that in a minute. But a lot of politicians were also saying, look, he should probably just forget about this. He should turn over the page and just move on. Now, he decided not to do that. But before we get to what actually happened, there was a huge sleuthing exercise that took place on social media since yesterday morning. Internet users, as is often the case now, we're digging deep, trying to profile this guy. Now, they found out that he had liked various right-wing groups, various far-left groups as well, that some stuff about smoking cannabis, stuff about Brittany independence movements. So it sounds like he's an 18-year-old who's a bit of an idealist, doesn't really know much about much. Is it fair to say? He's searching for an identity, and he's liked various different groups. So some people felt sorry for him, and there was a petition saying, Nolan is his name, should we not just have a sort of a presidential or even...
Anybody can make an error, but to make that kind of an error, to take a step forward, put your hand out and slap somebody, anybody like that, is going too far. Should he be prosecuted? I'm not sure, but, you know, certainly something should be done so that he realises the seriousness of what he's done.
Well, I think that's probably...
The security guys would have seen that as an attempt on possibly Valls' life.
That's it.
That's why they reacted the way they did.
So what happened was he got 3 months with it didn't avec sursis. How do we translate?
Why is he doing that sort of Dieudonné Canel sort of?
It's certainly not
fascist kind of salute.
Right.
You know,
this is worth pointing out.
He's doing himself no favours there at all.
This gesture is essentially seen in France as a fascist gesture. In any case, he got 3 months suspended sentence. And so it was very swift justice, in fact. The decision came down very quickly, as you might expect.
Well, as it does in France when all the powers are together and you want it to happen, you know,
Right.
When they don't, it can take ages, you know.
So just to run through some of the other coverage of this. For Le Figaro, right-wing newspaper, they say, look, Manuel Valls viewed this as a humiliation. And I reckon that explains why. First of all, there was a personal element to this. He did feel humiliated by it. And second of all, I suppose for dissuasive purposes, if there is no response from the state, then any 18-year-old with an axe to grind is going to come up and try to maybe do the same.
Should he have done a John Prescott and lamped him himself? Remember John Prescott in 2008, the man threw the egg at him, he turned around, Labour's deputy, he lamped the guy,
in a way, I suppose the way he reacted quite clemently in the moment, which reflects well on him, because he
well said, sir. Well said. I'm being told off by a producer. We need to end.
All right. Well,
otherwise my job's in jeopardy.
There is a Facebook movement for this to happen more often. I just want to point that out at the end.
What, you and me? Great.
No.
We should make it happen as often as we can.
And slaps.
James, thank you very much. Charles, thank you very much. You at home, thank you too.